Mira, mira, mira. Y bienvenidos a el Go Spurs a Go Memes. Soy el mosto con el mosto. Well. And welcome to the Go Spurs Go Memes podcast number 8. I am your host, Ray. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Sean. Sean, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Ray. Doing good. Glad to be back.
Fantastic. Glad to have you back. And of course, I also have to the left of me, Jack the intern. Jack, how are you, my friend?
I'm still hurting from yesterday.
What happened yesterday, Jack?
The Aggies played horribly, and I might still be a little drunk, but who knows?
That's okay, but you brought us tacos
good.
this morning.
Yeah, we had good
that's,
tacos.
That's fantastic. And Buddy the engineer is with us, and so is Frank the producer. Thank you very much, Buddy, for bringing us donuts this morning. The green room was pretty much stacked this morning for the talent, so we appreciate that. Thank you guys very much. So what's going on, guys? Sean, how you been, buddy? I haven't seen you. I feel like I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks.
It has been 3 weeks, Ray, because I haven't been here. I've been super busy with work, and then we had our fall hiatus that we have every year.
We did have our mid-season break.
Yes.
And that was, of course, due to Buddy the engineer, which we want to say congratulations to Buddy because he did get married last week. Congrats, Buddy.
Frank went too.
Frank did get to go to Hawaii.
But he had a couple heavy suitcases, and Frank was there to help.
Exactly. And then Frank came back with a brand new hat, so we're very excited about this hat. Because
that's the biggest news of the whole trip.
The biggest news, yes. The brand new hat that Frank got will be the hat that we will see now for the next 5 years. So just so that you guys know that Frank, the producer, is very fond of hats. And when he finds one that he likes, he will wear it continuously.
For 4 years.
For 4 years. And so this brand new... so this new hat that Frank has, he actually got a Hawaii Rainbow Warriors hat, which is very nice. And so that'll be the hat that we'll get to see for the next 5 years, Sean.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very excited about that. So what else is going on? Jack, what else is going on with you, bud?
No, not much. No, just living life.
Just living life?
Yep.
That's
living
good.
the dream. That's good to know. Good to know.
All right, guys. Well, I guess let's go ahead and just jump right on into the news. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of happening in the NBA right now. So, of course, the big news right now is all about Lamar Odom. He was found passed out in a Las Vegas brothel. He was unresponsive. They had to take him to the hospital. He was... out for a while. They were really worried about him. He had kidney failure, heart failure, all sorts of stuff. I think that the craziest thing that I heard about this whole Odom thing was that when they actually found him, they wanted to airlife him, but he was so large they couldn't get him in the helicopter.
Yeah, which makes you either think maybe we need to expand helicopters, or maybe really tall guys need to quit partying so hard.
And no kidding, jeez. And then CNN actually did a segment on Lamar Odom, which was kind of messed up because the picture they put up was LaMarcus Aldridge. And I was just like, wow, really, CNN? But again, you know, it's CNN. So.
Where's the intern from Rutgers that actually knows sports to hey guys, that's not him.
So stupid. The Lakers exercise option on Julius Randle for the 16-17 season. Kobe Bryant now has a lower leg contusion. He didn't practice with his team this past week, but supposedly he will be playing very soon in their next preseason game.
I know the pain from that. I've stubbed my toe before, and man, I don't want to play afterwards.
Exactly. The Kings have waived guard Marshall Henderson and forward Vince Hunter. Thunder and Dion Waiters are exploring a contract extension. The big thing about that contract extension is that if it happens, OKC will effectively not be a contender for free agency next summer. They're not going to have any money to be able to go after big agents, which kind of makes me question, what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. I think they'll still have the money to sign Durant, but they won't be able to do pretty much anything else.
I still think Durant's going to Washington.
Oh, I agree with you. I've been saying that for the longest time, that I feel he's going home to Washington.
And I think they're going to be stacked.
Now, Sean, we haven't seen each other in a while, but did you hear the whole Stephen A. Smith thing with Kevin Durant?
With Stephen A. Smith, I just choose to ignore.
Right.
Him and Skip Bayless, that's the worst show in the world.
And that's the thing, Smith came out and said that he had heard from his sources that Durant was really thinking about going to the Lakers, and Durant heard it and came out and said, that's a bunch of bull. I'm not even looking at the Lakers right now. And so he basically called out Stephen A. Smith. I thought that was really funny just to be called out on, your sources. Anyways. Thunder center Enes Kanter has a significant ankle sprain. He was out for the game against the Grizzlies. He's day-to-day right now. Pelicans signed Bo McCaleb. Warriors forward Harrison Barnes has an injury. It's basically a right knee injury, a bone bruise in the right knee. He's day-to-day. Warriors also waived Ben Gordon. Big thing coming out of San Francisco is that the Warriors actually finally bought that land in San Francisco to build their brand new arena. A couple shows ago, we kind of talked about arenas and the money, everything that goes into them. And so that's kind of crazy that they finally got the money together. The brand new arena supposedly be ready to go for the 2017 season, which means I think they're going to have to start really, really soon to make that date, but we'll see.
I don't think it's going to be 2017 unless their lease isn't up right before then. But, from what I've never been to the actual arena, but what everybody says is the arena is very old, very nasty,
it's the oldest one in the NBA.
Loud.
Yeah.
Which, if you're going to build a brand new arena, keep that same environment, dimensions, maybe make it nicer, of course, but hell, that's a great home court
I think
advantage.
that's kind of what's happening now is that, the age of 20,000 seat arenas is dead. That's not happening anymore. Everybody wants smaller arenas. So that's kind of what's happening with the Golden One Center in Sacramento, is that they've actually made it a little bit smaller, more suites and everything. But, they're trying to increase the amount of suites they have because that's where all the revenue comes in. And supposedly they're still going to have cheap seats for all the fans and stuff. So we'll see what happens with the Warriors' new arena. Rajon Rondo kind of mentioned his relationship with Kings head coach George Karl. Basically just said it's not going well. I mean, the season hasn't even started yet, and he's already having problems with George Karl. But, of course, we all know the only reason that Rajon Rondo is in Sacramento is because he's trying to make himself look better so that he can opt out of his contract. Or actually, I think it's just a one-year contract. So when his contract's up,
he can sign a multi-year deal.
Yeah, he wants a multi-year deal with a lot of money.
I'm thinking Lakers.
You think so?
Why not?
Well, the funny thing about the Lakers is that had been going on for a while, that Kobe wanted Rondo in L.A., but of course that kind of brings up the thing too, is Kobe going to be back next year?
Kobe's never leaving L.A. unless the only place he'll ever go is Philly, and he won't go there.
Philly?
Yeah, he was born and raised in Philly. That's the only place he'll go, and he'll go his last year just to be a nice guy so he can actually have a house
I say either Kobe stays in a Lakers uniform for the rest of his career and he's done, or if he goes to any other team, I bet you he goes to the Knicks and he's there with Phil Jackson. I think that's the only option that Kobe would have to not be in a Lakers uniform, is that he would go to New York. But that's just me.
The douchebaggery on that island would be too much for me.
Can you imagine?
I would not visit New York again.
Jabari Parker has been practicing with the Bucks, but he has yet to make his 2015 debut. Derrick Rose, of course, is expected to miss the Bulls season opener as he recovers from his eye surgery. His eye is still swollen. He's been at the practices and stuff, but that's not going anywhere.
He's like the anti-Wolverine of the NBA.
He's Mr. Glass is basically what he is. He just constantly gets injured, and we kind of talked about this on the last podcast as well. Well, when you weren't here, Sean, we just kind of made fun of Derrick Rose because it just doesn't matter. The guy can't get a break.
Every Derrick Rose injury reminds me of Caddyshack when he gets hit in the arm and goes, "Oh, my arm! I can't play." That's every Derrick Rose injury that I can find.
Yeah. Popovich on the splitter trade, he said it was very difficult. When someone is with you for a while, you get close to them and their family. That's the business part of the situation. It shows its ugly head once in a while. So if we wanted to add the talent that we added, then we had to do something because you can't pay everybody. I think Thiago being here in Atlanta is a perfect fit for both parties. The Spurs unveiled a brand new black signature jersey.
Dude,
if you haven't seen it,
awesome.
Oh my God, they're so freaking tight. They're just sick. I mean, they look fantastic. And I know there was a lot of people disappointed with them. They were kind of hoping for something different.
No, people, this is good.
I think they're fantastic, and they're going to wear them for the season opener on the 30th. So
it wasn't like the Fiesta
sweet.
color jerseys that we had, 15, 20 years ago. These are nice jerseys.
And that's it's funny that you bring up the Fiesta colors, is because
I think want them back.
Yeah, some people do. Some people want those old school Fiesta colors, or they want the old school like Iceman jerseys that say San Antonio on them.
That would be okay.
That I'm okay with, but the Fiesta colors just got to go. And the Spurs have spent so much money and so much marketing trying to get people away from those Fiesta colors, but they just keep coming back.
No,
people
let it go.
People won't let it go.
No, let it go. People.
But I love the way the new jerseys look. So I'm excited to see them on the court on the 30th. So we've been kind of saying nonstop, guys, that we love the feedback. We love hearing from everybody. The new thing that we're going to be doing, guys, here on the podcast is we'll be doing listener mail. So we'd love to hear from you guys. You can email us at ray@gospursgomemes.com. We want to hear your thoughts. thoughts. What do you think? You've been seeing some of the preseason games, or at least you've been following on the radio. We want to hear what your thoughts are. Tell us what if you want us to talk about something, any ideas, thoughts, just the feedback. We love hearing from you guys, and we do get a lot of feedback, but we really want to kind of focus on doing a segment based on listener mail. So please give us an email, ray@gospursgomemes.com. We look forward to just kind of going through all those emails. Let's see what else. For today's preseason game, it was announced that Aldridge will play today, and they also released Boris Diaw, so both those guys will be playing in today's preseason game. The other big thing is that Tony Parker and Indoy will be out. Parker's out just for rest. Indoy actually has an ankle sprain, so he's going to be out from the game today. And Jack and I for sure will be at the game today for the preseason game versus Detroit, so we're really excited to go into the new AT&T Center. If you guys haven't seen it, I kind of put up on Go Spurs Go Memes the brand new Jumbotron that they unveiled, full of LED screens. It's freaking huge. I'm kind of excited to see this thing. I was actually at the AT&T Center, Freeman Coliseum yesterday. And I mean, the AT&T Center was just a madhouse of people trying to get everything ready for today's game. I was able to see the new LED screens that are on the outside of the arena, which look really cool. A lot of adverts kind of going for all the upcoming concerts and basketball games. One of the cool things that the screens do is that they actually focus on the players. So they actually put up like Ginobili, his number, where he played, like college type thing. And they're doing that with all the Spurs. And so that's just like a kind of like Las Vegas board. I just thought it was neat to see. But I'm really curious with all these upgrades that they've kind of done at the AT&T Center. I wonder how much of that people are actually going to notice or are going to say like, oh, that wasn't there before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we call those people not fans because anybody that goes more than twice, you're going to notice the differences. At least we hope so.
And of course, guys, the last bit of news that I have for everyone today is, of course, GoSpursGoMemes.com is up and running now. Please go check it out. You will see it tagged in pretty much any Facebook post that we have now. You can get everything on GoSpursGoMemes.com. The memes, news and rumors.
Podcast.
The podcast is up there as well. So very, very exciting thing for us here at Go Spurs Go Memes is that our website is now live. Keep your eyes peeled for the website. You're going to start kind of seeing some hints that we will be doing our first giveaway very, very soon.
Oh, yeah.
We have a new sponsor with us called Cheeky Digs. They have put together some nice packages for us. So keep your eye open. We will tell you much more about the giveaway on next week's podcast.
And unfortunately, Jack, you can't win. You're an intern. Here.
Come on. What about my brother?
No,
Is your brother named Jack as well? Like a Daryl and Daryl?
Family of employees of Go Spurs Go Memes are not eligible to be in the contest, Jack, so I'm sorry about
and
that.
And volunteers. Can't have it. Not today.
We'll be back in a bit. And we're back. All right, guys. So we've been off the air for what seems like an eternity, but it's just a week or two. So in that time, we have had 3 preseason Spurs games, lots of thoughts, lots of stats. So it's time for us to kind of talk about this stuff. To my right, I got Buddy the engineer. To my left, I got Jack the intern. So we're just going to kind of talk about everything that we kind of saw. So we'll start with the Spurs and the Kings. So the Kings won 95 to 92. Thoughts, Buddy?
I thought it was a very good showing from the Spurs. I think he's already starting to see how Aldridge is going to start playing into the system. A lot of pick and pop kind of stuff, a lot of mid-range kind of things, which that made me very, very happy.
It made me happy, but I don't know if you felt this way, but watching this game, I kind of felt like Aldridge wasn't comfortable. And I was thinking that he wasn't comfortable just because he wasn't with his starting core. Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker didn't play. So really the only first-team member, the 2 first-team members that he played with were with Leonard and Green. And it just kind of seemed like he was a bit off. I don't know. I just really felt that he was off.
I think it's almost natural when you think about it. I mean, this is his first game with a new team altogether, right? And maybe you're trying to see sort of a glimpse of what it's going to be like without those 3 that actually are going to be the stalwarts that were the stalwarts for like a long time. I mean, now you're going to be basically Aldridge and Leonard for the future, for the foreseeable future. So it's better you start getting used to it now.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. It was the very first game with his teammates. And I know that some people were already panicking, saying, like, we paid all this money. He went 3 for 10 from the field, 8 points. He had a turnover, 3 rebounds. But it was just opening night jitters is really how I kind of saw it. But I was excited with some of the things that we did see with Aldridge. I think I was more excited to see David West out there because he was just so ferocious. He was just out there going for rebounds, making plays, looking for his teammates. I got really excited about David West. Jack, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely like his energy. That's going to be a nice thing coming off the bench as we get more into the season.
Yeah. Kawhi, year 5. He's just been coming out, and I mean, he's ready to go on both sides of the floor, offense, defense. He's everywhere. He had 16 points. He did have 2 turnovers, but he went 5 for 10 from the field. He made 1 3-pointer. That's one thing that I did start noticing, guys, is that our threes aren't there yet. There were a lot of misses, but we were getting tons of open looks. Mm-hmm. And you start thinking, if those threes start falling, damn, we're going to be scary good. Like, because there was just so many open 3-point shots that the Spurs were getting. They just weren't falling for us. What else? Patty Mills played for a bit. He was 5 for 7 from the field. He made 11 points. Danny Green, I just wasn't really impressed with Danny. I kind of feel like he's just picking up where he was from the Clippers game. I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
I think that's the same thing, too. I mean, I'm sort of like, and I guess we get into this as further we go into this, but Green so far in the preseason hasn't been very impressive at all.
Not at all.
But I don't know what it is. Maybe he's maybe off. Maybe he's they're sort of like backing off of him a little bit. They did use him quite a bit last season. So my guess is that he may just be out of sync a little bit. I mean, but they're not really playing him that many minutes. I think if I was looking at the average overall minutes, I think he's averaging like not that many minutes overall for the whole preseason.
For that game, he was in for about 21 minutes. Mm-hmm. He went 1 for 6 from 3-point land. So like I said, the Spurs got a lot of open looks for threes. They weren't falling at all. Let's see what else. Let's kind of talk about the bench. Kyle Anderson, man, that kid is looking fantastic. He's kind of picking up just where he was in Summer League. He's out there with the second team. He's leading them. He's getting open shots. He's getting assists, all sorts of good stuff. He had 15 points. He had 1 3-pointer. But, I mean, he went 6 from 9 from the field. I mean, that's really freaking good for Kyle Anderson. I was really excited to see how well he did. Let's kind of talk about the rest of the bench that actually played. Reggie Williams was out there for a little bit. The normal Reggie Williams stuff, nothing exciting to get excited about. He was out there for a little bit. He had 4 points. Razul Butler, man, talk about a guy fighting for that last roster spot. He looked fantastic against the Kings. And guys, I've been saying for weeks on this podcast, I am pro Jimmer. I really hope Jimmer gets that last spot, but I couldn't help but feel impressed with Razul Butler.
I completely agree with you. I think that so far, from what I've seen, and again, we'll get into this as further we go into it, is that Butler seems to be like the guy who's going to get that last spot. I mean, to me, he seems very solid in the offense. He seems very confident. I think that he fits pretty well, a lot better than I really expected him to fit.
He really does. It really seems like he's been playing with the Spurs for a while. You could just see that comfortability with the Spurs right off the bat as soon as he came into the game. So I'm very, very impressed with Butler. Indoy, it was nice to see him out on the floor. Didn't really do much in this game. Okay, we got to talk about Boban. Jolly Green Giant, Boban Marjanovic. I was very excited when he marched out there. You could see the seats shaking when he walked on that court. But I was so excited to see him. And I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we've seen videos of him with his team from Serbia. We knew that more than likely his movement and his speed was going to be an issue because this would be the first time that he'd be going up against NBA athletes. Athletes that will, dunk on you from half the court. Just crazy athleticism. And so it was very interesting to see, how is he going to respond to that? And I think what we saw was, in my opinion at least, is he was much quicker than I thought. Mm-hmm. He seemed to move much better with the team, but he was very, very sloppy. So he had a couple turnovers, couldn't hold on to the ball. And he really seemed to struggle with rebounds. I don't know if that was just me.
And that's the part that surprised me the most. I really thought that he would be a better rebounder at this point. Like for this game in particular, you'll notice that he had one rebound for the whole game. I mean, mind you, he only played 11 minutes for this game. But I was really surprised that I really felt that he was going to be a better like rebounding presence overall, especially on the offensive glass, because of the fact that, one, if he puts himself like as an anchor on the inside, he could be a very, very good offensive rebounder. I mean, his hands are pretty quick from what I've seen. Like his hands move pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He's sloppy and then he is turnover prone. But I mean, as far as like his overall hand movement, it's not too bad. So I was sort of surprised he wasn't really mixing it up that way. But a lot of the times that I've seen him so far, it just seems that he's out of position half the time, or he's getting boxed out at the wrong place. He just happens to be at the wrong place in the wrong time when it comes to rebounds, I've noticed so far. And I don't know, like I said, it's so hard. Like when it comes to preseason things in particular, you're thinking about the fact that you're seeing a very limited amount of sample size to be able to make a good judgment as to how they're going to be in the future. And Marjanovic is one of these things so far that, granted, you already know the fact that he's not going to be somebody who's going to be like a 20-minute or even a 15-minute guy at this point, right? But if you're looking at him for the future and things like that, at this point, I can't say that I'm completely confident in his ability at this point. But
the thought that popped into my head watching him, like how sloppy he was, and you could see him trying to adjust to the game. He's out there. He's looking for his teammates. His teammates are excited to have him out there. But the big thought that kind of popped into my head is that I'm thinking that Boban would do really well in D-League for a little bit. If he got sent up to Austin, played with the Austin Spurs for a little bit, just to get used to the athleticism and stuff. And I think he could really dominate in D-League basketball. But it is different than NBA basketball. The tempo's a little bit different, but I think that he would so benefit from going up there. So I'm curious to see what happens. Will they just keep him in the NBA the entire league? He does have a guaranteed contract, so he's going to be in a Spurs uniform. But wouldn't he benefit from going up to Austin?
I think using him in the D-League would be ideal, to be honest with you. I mean, I like I said, this is just based off of the first several games. And you know this, and you'll talk about this, I'm sure, too. The cutting period's coming up here pretty soon, right?
Yes, it is. So the 22nd, 24th is when the majority of NBA cuts are going to happen, when people start getting waived, because on the 26th, all NBA teams have to turn in their official roster for opening night. So the 22nd to 24th is when we're going to start hearing the Spurs cut so-and-so. And some teams have already started cutting people. And it's kind of crazy, too, because some teams have cut people and then they've signed other players. So most teams are kind of still high up on having 20 people on a roster, 19 people on a roster. But as we get closer to next weekend, that's when they're going to start cutting people.
I wouldn't be shocked outside of this point, to see, like, for instance, after this game today, after the Pistons game, unless Marjanovic takes, like, an insane leap at this point, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go down to the D-League for now. I mean, who cares if his contract's guaranteed? I mean, you already have him anyways.
Right. It's the same thing like Kyle Anderson last year.
Exactly.
And look how well Kyle did in D-League and came back. He owned Summer League, fantastic in Summer League, and already with these preseason games, he's looking fantastic. Now we all know preseason games do not translate to an NBA game. They don't. So you can't put too much weight into a preseason game because you just don't know how it's going to be when the season actually kicks off in less than 2 weeks. But I would love to see Marjanovic go over there, because if he goes to D-League, that opens up another roster spot, which means Butler and Jimmer, which I would assume are the two leading candidates to get those roster spots, would get them. Jonathan Simmons, loved seeing him out there. The energy, athleticism, he's out everywhere, passing, he's trying to make plays. I was really excited to see him, and I think that he's going to be in a Spurs uniform. I don't think they're going to send him up to D-League. I think he will be with the Spurs the entire season in the NBA. He does have that guaranteed contract. Ray McCallum, very excited to see him. He had 8 points. He looked pretty good out there. It's kind of crazy to think that he's actually our third stringer behind Patty Mills, but man, he looked really great out there. I love seeing McCallum. What are your thoughts?
Truthfully, I can see him challenging Patty Mills. I mean, I saw some things in him that I don't see from Mills. For instance, I see a lot more confidence in him as far as drives to the basket, as far as better control over all his drives.
And Patty wasn't hitting those threes either. He was missing too.
We're going back to that whole problem that he had last year, where he had
his shot just doesn't seem to be there, and I kind of feel like this has been a problem for him since he got his shoulder injury. So it doesn't really seem like that has gone away just yet. So we know Patty is, second in line behind Tony, but I agree with you. I think McCallum's going to challenge him for that. Let's see, who else haven't we talked about? Bonner was out there for a little bit.
Bonner.
If you just heard Sean just kind of booed because
he took up space.
I still believe that Bonner should have been cut. They shouldn't have signed him back. But whatever, he's there. I still would love to see the Spurs say we're going to waive Matt Bonner because he doesn't have a guaranteed contract. Waive him, put him to work with the organization, make him an assistant coach whatsoever, open up that roster spot for somebody else. That's what I want to see. The Spurs have until January to waive Matt Bonner because his contract, like I said, is just not guaranteed. And of course, for this game, the people that did not play were Tim Duncan, Deshaun Thomas, Boris Diaw was out for rest, as was Timmy, Tony, Manu, and Kiefer Sykes didn't make an appearance at all in this game either. Okay, so like we said, Kings 95, Spurs 92. Let's go to the next game, Heat and the Spurs. We had our entire starting lineup for this one. We had Tony, Danny, Kawhi, Tim, and LaMarcus, and that first team looked really, really good.
Yes, they did.
And I think that's why at halftime the Spurs were up. And again, Kawhi Leonard, year 5, the maturity, the aggressiveness, being out there on the floor, both sides of the court. I mean, they looked really good. That entire first team looked really good. I really wish that we could see the second team, the full second team out there. I think we'll get to see that today at the preseason game, but we haven't seen that yet because somebody's been out. Really, Boris has been out. Right. Too much wine, whatever. So today he'll be there, so we should get to see the full second string out there today. Tony won't be out there with the first team today. Let's see what else. Thoughts about the Miami game, buddy?
I was very, very, like you said, I'm very happy with the first team. The third team and second team let the game get away at the end. They were actually up like almost over 10, I believe, at the fourth.
They brought up that lead in the third quarter, and then they just completely lost it in the fourth quarter.
So, again, they don't mean anything. But
and they barely lost too. So think about that as well. They barely lost, but they did have a huge lead that this third and fourth string team just kind of let go away.
The only thing that I'm concerned about so far, like I said, right now at this point, the Spurs are averaging about 39% in shooting right now for the three preseason games right now. That's just flat out awful for like overall field goal percentage.
Yes.
So the shooting hasn't been all that great so far, and then you see it in this game in particular. They only were at 42% for the game.
Yes.
So it's really hard to win a game when you're like below 45% for a game. So you get into these same problems that the Spurs get into where they just get into their little shooting slumps, and then they just don't know where to make the shots, and then they start getting tentative about what they should do, and they start making try to shoot threes all over the place, and they don't go in. And that's the only thing that concerns me, and then that's why I want to see the second team to see how they react to when they go into these shooting slumps, what they're going to do. Use somebody like West, to pound the ball in there, get your turnaround jumpers, get your.
I'm excited to see West and Diaw together on the floor.
West can be a great stabilizing force for their second team.
Right.
And that's the thing I'm looking forward to overall.
Yeah, and the one person we didn't talk about, buddy, which I'm surprised because we all know we are pro Jimmers. We did not mention Jimmer Fredette at all. And so the very first game, he just looks so nervous out there. We know that he's fighting for a spot. And, he just very sloppy play. He had a couple open threes. They didn't hit. I was kind of disappointed with how bad he did in that first game because I was hoping and expected him to come out on the floor and just be on fire. I don't know why I had that expectation, but I really did, and I just didn't see much from Jimmer. And buddy, you and I were kind of texting each other back and forth watching Jimmer and stuff.
Oh, it was frustrating to watch him. And it wasn't so much of the fact that okay, I can live with the fact that if he misses an open jumper once or twice, right? Mind you, that's what you're being bought into is make those open jumpers. But it seemed like a lot of the times that he was trying to create his own shot, which is obviously not what he's supposed to be doing. A lot of times he'd be dribbling the ball, and then they would just double him just real quickly. He just completely just blow it, blow the pass or blow the screen or something like that.
Right.
And but so far he hasn't been adjusting the way that I felt that he could adjust.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too is he went 0 for 6 in the Kings game. He didn't have his stroke at all, but he was out there trying to make plays assists for his teammates. So that was an exciting thing to see, is that he was looking for open people. He was trying to make things happen. It just didn't happen in that game. And then in the Miami game, they didn't even put him out there, which was kind of disappointing to me. I was really hoping to be able to see him. And instead, Pop put out Kiefer Sykes. So we got to see Kiefer Sykes for a little bit. He didn't do anything. But of course, right now, I think we're kind of overloaded in point guards. So he's giving everybody a chance to, prove what they got. We know Kiefer's not going to make the team. He's going to be one of those people that are going to be waived. I heard a lot of great things about Sykes. I've seen some videos from when he played at Green Bay, Wisconsin. I think I'd love to see him go to the D-League and develop there and then see what happens if the Spurs have an opening. But I don't expect Sykes to actually make the roster at all. Same thing with Ndoye. So back to the Miami game, we really saw much more of LaMarcus Aldridge. He had 17 points, 7 of 12. Again, he was finally with his starting lineup, and you could really see the chemistry that's kind of going there. 7 of 12, 3 of 4 from the free throws, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. Timmy came out. Timmy looked great. He was 7 for 7, 14 points. Kawhi, again, another strong 14 points for this game. He looked fantastic. Tony, getting really worried about Tony Parker.
You and I both.
That shot is just not there. That little teardrop that he used to, mid-range little jumper, whatever, it's just not happening for him. And was it just me, buddy? But I kind of felt anytime he was leading the charge towards the offensive basket, he kind of seemed like he was, I don't want to say scared, but hesitant.
I feel that's the thing that comes to mind. The one thing, and I think we talked about this a little bit, was the fact that I think he's starting to realize this too. He's not the quickest guy out there anymore.
Not anymore. No. And you can totally see that.
And I think he feels that starting to come on there. And we'll get into this on the next game. But for instance, he went against Teague and Schroeder, and
yeah.
He was not quick against them at all, especially Schroeder. Schroeder he was in front of him the whole time, and he bothered him a little bit.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that because there were some things I noticed with the Hawks that really made me think, like, damn.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So we'll get to that in a bit. Let's kind of finish out this Miami game. So in this game, Butler didn't do anything. He didn't look good in this game.
No.
But he did have a resounding opening with the Kings, and I still feel that Butler is probably going to get that 15th spot right now, unless Jimmer comes out and does something, or he's doing something in practice that we're not seeing, or they decide to send Boban to D-League. I really do think Butler's probably going to end up getting this spot. Let's see who else was out there. Boban looked a little bit more comfortable in this game. He did make a basket, got some rebounds, but again, I think he's still adjusting to the NBA game. Very, very sloppy. For such a big guy, I would assume that he would be more aggressive, and it just kind of seemed like the smaller guys could kind of push him around,
right.
Not physically, but just, get to the ball, get the rebound from him. And I don't know if in EuroLeague he was just used to being able to do what he wants and nobody would mess with him, but this is the NBA. It doesn't matter what your size is. You're going to get attacked.
He can be targeted easily.
Very, very easily.
Consider the fact that right now at this point, he's averaging 12.7 minutes at this point, right? He's also averaging 2.3 turnovers at this point. So that's basically a turnover every 3 minutes that he's in the game.
Yeah.
So that's not a great thing when you think about it. So he's being targeted, obviously, but he just has to get better. And and he needs time for that, which is why I think the idea of the D-League would be ideal for him.
I agree. And I think the one thing that we noticed was that as soon as Boban gets the ball, they double team him right away because they don't know what to do. And I think that's the funniest thing is that when he comes out on the court, the opposing team is just kind of looking at him like, crap, what do we do? Like, somebody come help me. You know what I mean? Because he's
somebody
just so
attack
big.
This giant.
Yeah, and I would assume that would allow the Spurs to have more open shots, but his sloppiness is just not allowing that to happen. Thoughts, Jack?
Oh, yeah. You're hitting the nail right on the head. He's not quite there, and he's not quick enough to be able to make that pass like you see, Timmy do, or even what Thiago could do. Right.
Yeah, I see. And then you bring up a good thing. So that's kind of a good segue for us to go into the Atlanta game. So the Hawks, man, youth, energy. I think you really saw it with this game. The openers did look pretty good in this game. Again, Kawhi, 20 points. Duncan had 4 points, 2 or 3 from the field. Bonner actually started this game because LaMarcus Aldridge was having back spasms, which kind of worried me when that came out that he
That was the
already.
first thing that I thought too. I was like, oh no, back
I was like,
spasms.
please don't let this season be this way that he's just going to be having back spasms. But he's supposed to be back today, so hopefully we get a good look at him here in San Antonio for the preseason game versus the Pistons. What else? Tony had 8 points. Looked a little bit better, but I still don't feel that shot is there for Tony. Danny Green, he had 1 3-pointer. He was in for about 12 minutes. Oh, actually, not a 3-pointer. He actually made a basket, and then he got fouled.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just not feeling it with Green right now, but he is our starter. He's our best small guard that we have on the team right now. But I do get more excited when I see Jonathan Simmons come out on the floor. Let's see the bench. Ginobili finally played. He looked pretty good. I kind of feel like Ginobili shot his back.
Yeah, I felt he looked really good.
He did.
For the time of the year where he's at right now, and I felt like, you're real early, he looked fantastic. But, of course, he was in there most of the time with the second and the third, second and the third teams, but he was just hammering those second and third teams. So I thought that ideally he looked fantastic. His shot was just, as you say, spot on. He was about the only guy, though, whose shot was spot on for the game.
Yeah, very, very true. And I know that Pop has already said that they will be very conservative with Ginobili this year. They're going to limit his minutes down. But I'm kind of like, man, Manu looks so good. I kind of want him out there more. But we know, Manu will have his slumps. Those are going to happen where he'll try to do too much. He'll be, crashing into people, doing the normal Manu things. We're going to start to have the turnovers, all that stuff. That's normal Manu. That's the opposite we get for
Feast or famine.
Yeah, of these awesome plays that we get, and when he starts dropping baskets and stuff. But it was nice to see him hit his shots. Who else looked pretty good in that game?
I was pretty impressed. I was impressed with about 2 people out of this when I was saying. I did see a couple good plays from Deshaun Thomas.
Yep.
I was actually very impressed with him at certain points of him. I still see that he has a big undersized problem with him, so that's
Right.
his biggest issue.
Endoy did
him.
pretty good. He had
Endoy,
8
when the
points.
last quarter, he looked really good. Like, he was very aggressive. He had, it says 6 for 9 free throws, but I mean, he was the most aggressive going to the basket for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and again,
remember.
I think it's somebody wanting to make attention. I'm more than positive he's going to end up in D League, which would be a good thing for the Spurs to let him develop over there. Hopefully, we don't lose rights to him because I think he could be something for the future. But right now, this roster is just so stacked; there just is no room. Same thing with Deshaun Thomas. We'll retain rights on him, but he's probably going to end up going back to Europe to play ball. Who else? Patty was out there for a little bit. He had 3 for 5, missed all his 3-pointers, 6 points. Fredette looked better in this game. He made a couple baskets, had some rebounds, a couple of assists. We just got to see more of Jimmer. But again, I just don't feel like his entire shot is dropping. We did have some nice spin moves by Fredette, which was really awesome to see. I get excited when he's out there, but I don't know what's going to happen with these roster spots. And that's pretty much it for this game. Boris and LaMarcus, like I said earlier, did not play, but we're very excited for this game today, and we will be back in a bit. All right, we're back with Kennedy's picks. This is her 3rd week of picking. We're going to start with college football, and then we will go from there. So first up, Kennedy, the Texas Tech Red Raiders or the Oklahoma Sooners?
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Okay, Sooners. Texas A&M Aggies or the Ole Miss Rebels?
The Ole Miss Rebels.
The Texas Longhorns or the Kansas State Wildcats?
The Tennessee Wildcats.
Wildcats. Okay, she's going with the Wildcats. Florida State Seminoles or Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck?
Wait, what?
The Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck or Florida State Seminoles?
The Florida Trinity Seminoles.
And then we're going to do the Clemson Tigers or the Miami Hurricanes?
The Miami Hurricanes.
Okay, and then now we're going to do the pros. So we have the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals or the Buffalo Bills?
The Buffalo Bills.
New England Patriots or the Colts?
The Colts.
The Giants or the Eagles?
The Giants.
Chargers or the Packers?
Chargers.
So she went with the Chargers on that one. The Texans or the Jags?
The Texans.
Okay, that does it for Kennedy's picks. Week 3, we will see how she does.
And we're back. All right, guys. Today is Sunday. We are recording on a very early Sunday morning. So, of course, we have already missed SATURDAY College Football Saturday.
It was great.
Some great games yesterday. I don't even freaking know where to start.
I do.
What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the game that ended the most
Horribly?
amazingly way it could have. Michigan State.
I cannot believe Michigan lost.
It was great.
I don't even. I'd hate to be that guy in Ann Arbor right now.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
He's not in Ann Arbor anymore. He's under FBI protection right now.
Yeah, and I think somebody put up a video of all the Michigan fans like flicking him off. I don't know who put it up. Frank, was that you that put that up? Oh, that was you, right? Okay, yeah. All the
so
fans
great.
just kind of flicking off the guy and stuff. I'm like, man, I can't believe that they won. Surprise win, 27-23, Michigan State.
Yeah, nobody's going to be sitting next to him on the poli-sci test on Tuesday. I'll tell you that much right now.
I know, man. Jeez. Let's see. Bama A&M. Jack, I know you want to talk about this. You're still... I think Jack's still a bit
I really
hungover.
don't. And actually, I think that Allen just threw another pick six. So.
It is almost 8 in the morning.
It's true. Somebody was telling me that there was a higher percentage of him hitting the Bama DBs than it was hitting his own receivers.
It was close.
He was so I remember watching the game, and I mean, I picked A&M to win, and it was just so he was so inaccurate, and it almost seemed like he didn't care.
This is the first time he's looked, I won't say
Mortal?
scared, but like not great. You
Yeah.
know, like he didn't have confidence. He didn't.
I couldn't believe how bad they did. Like I had been saying since the beginning when we started talking college football and stuff like that. I had been saying this was my upset week. This is when I felt that A&M would rise to the occasion and they would beat Bama. I really thought they would, and they didn't. But I think if you take away all the turnovers and the points off of turnovers, the game was much more equalized. And I think A&M would have won by like a touchdown or something.
If A&M didn't go nickel the first quarter and a half and actually played against the run, because I mean Trey, I think is Johnson, Trey Henry, he ran over everybody, and by the time anybody touched him, he was way past the second level. He was already getting past A&M's defensive line is very good. It's meant to stop the pass, especially, but when you can't stop the run, there's no options to stop the pass.
But I mean, you are going up against that Alabama offensive line, those big boys, and they just basically did what they wanted with the A&M.
Alabama's still Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. What else happened? LSU beat Florida.
That was a good game.
That little trick play, the fake field goal. Oh. Mad scientist Les Miles, of course. That was a great game. So LSU won that one.
Playoffs.
What else happened? Oh, Utah, Arizona State. That was a pretty good game. It was tight for a while, and then Utah just kind of opened it up. They're number 4 in the country.
They're good.
They're legit.
They're very good.
They have a great win against Michigan, where I think they blanked Michigan. I still think Michigan is a better team than what their record shows.
Oh no, Michigan's very good. What about Stanford? Are they going to play Utah this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that game,
Jack, can you look that up? I'm not too sure if that's true or not. What else happened? Baylor destroyed West Virginia.
Who thought that was going to be close? Because I didn't. I
didn't think. No,
Baylor's too on point right now, and their defense is not that good. I'm sorry, it's not. Because West Virginia was able to do a lot of things, especially in that first half.
Well, I mean, they scored 38 points, so there's some questions about the Baylor D.
Yeah, no, I agree. For those of you that don't know, Notre Dame beat USC, and they actually had to come back. They were down by 14 points in the third quarter.
See, I didn't watch the game, so is that really what I knew that they were down, but I didn't realize how bad they were down.
Yeah, after the first quarter, it was 21-10, and they Torrey Hunter Jr., the son of the great baseball player Torrey Hunter, actually fumbled on the one. USC recovered. They were going to be up 28-10 and easily going to run them out of the building. And then USC just came back. They kept hitting
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame came back and just started. USC came back and started killing them. Because they were down. Okay. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And
you watched the game, I didn't. I don't care about Notre Dame.
Yeah, come easy. And but no, I mean they came back and they came back hard. But the craziest thing about the whole game was the USC AD. He actually collapsed on the field before the game.
Really?
He got ahead about 30 minutes before the game. He had to get helped up to his knees. To Took him in the back of the locker room, checked him out. Everything was okay. Took him to a hospital. Everything was okay. Evidently, he was on a plane back to L.A. before even the end of the game. They were just real cautious with him. But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it was kind of scary. Pat Hayden,
and of course, this is the first game for USC after head coach Steve Sarkisian was fired. Of course, the last game, supposedly he was drunk at the game. Even on the Sunday morning meeting for the team, he was still drunk at that meeting.
Yeah, man, you can't do that in college. High school, of course. I mean, but college, you can't do that.
I know, geez.
Step it up.
Iowa, 40-10 over Northwestern.
Jesus, are they good?
I don't know,
Because I
man,
thought Northwestern was good before they hit Michigan.
I thought Northwestern was okay.
Yeah, I did too. I thought their defense was much better than most people were giving them.
Iowa
But
just blew them out of the
they
building,
killed them.
40-10. They're now 7-0, 3-0 in the Big Ten.
And they don't play Ohio State, Michigan, or Michigan State.
Yeah, they'll end up playing one of those teams for
until
the
the
Big Ten
championship
championship game.
which is going to be crazy. Yeah, no. Who else? Baylor. We had TCU. TCU looked like they were. Why does TCU look like they're going to lose every first half of every
week.
game?
I mean, Iowa State was up early on them.
Yeah.
Final score was 45-21. I don't know. I think TCU just starts off slow, but I still think Baylor's going to kill them. I'm going to stick by that statement. Of course, I've been proven wrong a couple times this year already, but I still think that Baylor is just going to beat TCU. I would be really surprised if that turned out any other way.
The game I was surprised with was Memphis over Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Come on,
Ole Miss
Ole
is what
Miss.
now on a 2-game slide? Right?
Yeah.
Because they lost last week too.
Yeah, and I mean you lose to Memphis. What,
37-24.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I know. Oklahoma, that one really surprised me. 55-0 over Kansas State. They came back with a vengeance. Just kind of blew K-State out of the water.
They blew the bloody doors off of K-State.
And of course, this is after a
farmhouse.
Texas game that they lost that nobody saw coming.
That was the only game. If you were going to put money on it, you put money on Oklahoma because if they ever lose to Texas, that next week's game, they kill whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
But I thought Kansas State was going to at least put something on the board to get zeroed out.
Yeah,
That
and
was
then
just bad.
the last game I want to mention before we go to pros is Utah-Boise State, which happened on Friday night. Utah State killed Boise State 52-26. Didn't see that one coming either, but...
And one last game, the Thursday night game with UCLA and Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. If Stanford doesn't have to be on the East Coast at 11 a.m.
Jekyll and Hyde team, Stanford.
They've killed everybody since they lost to Northwestern.
Yeah.
I mean, they're scary good right now.
Man, because UCLA was my pick for surprise team out of the Pac-12, and now they're on a 2-game slide as well. So, I don't know what else to say about that. And then Oregon won last night as well.
A little surprised.
I was surprised by that. I thought Washington was going to be able to beat them.
They were actually favored. When's the last time Oregon wasn't favored in a game?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Well, I think it's not the same Oregon team anymore.
No,
a lot of people have kind of given up on them, and that's why. And of course, just kind of want to mention our college pick'ems that Frank, the producer, Sean, and I are both part of right now. Where are we in the pick'ems right now, Sean?
Let's take a look, Ray. I'm going to pull up the
I know
old
neither
intranet.
one of us pull up the interwebs. I know that none of us are in the lead right now, but I think we're like 5, 6, 7, or 6, 7, 8. We're all kind of back to back from each other.
Hold on. Let Daddy take care of this. Let me take a look. Somebody logged me out of ESPN, Jack. All right, folks. Well, we don't have those options right now. We'll take a minute to pull them up.
Because we're not that organized.
But I do know that I think my mom and my dad are in third place.
They are. Yes, that I do know.
And this is
Team Buckley.
Team
John and D. Buckley are in third place
which
right
is
now.
scary because yesterday morning she goes, my mom actually asked me, she goes, what do you know about Arizona State? Are they any good? And I go, yeah, they're pretty good, Mom. She goes, can you help me with this one? I go, no, you're beating me. You're getting zero help. When you get below me, I will help you, but otherwise you're dead in the water.
Okay, so I was sort of close. We got the numbers up real quick.
Oh,
So
excellent,
let's do that
excellent.
real quick, and then we'll go back to D. D's nuts.
D's nuts.
So at number 5 right now, Sean is at number 5.
Yeah, holla
I
at
am
it.
number 6. I'm 1 point behind Sean.
Still behind me.
And then tied for 8 is Frank. And Frank is only about 5 points, 6 points behind me and Sean.
But where's my mom and dad?
Your mom and dad are number 3. They're only 5 points away from second place, 6 points away. 7 points away from first place. So
Dude.
Ma and Pa Buck
are killing it.
this year, and I'm completely surprised by that.
But the best part is, on Thursday, I'll get a call Thursday night, and it's always my mom. She goes, I've been doing my research. I don't think Utah. I think they're real this year. And I go, yeah, I think so too, Ma. And she goes, okay, I'm just I want to make sure I'm interpreting the information I'm reading correctly. I'm like, yeah, everything looks good. She gets mad like around 4:00 every day if she's not perfect. She goes, I knew I should have picked Michigan State. John, you told me to pick Michigan. This is your loss. Like, they just start arguing in the living room.
Talking about going perfect and doing really well with picks. So one new segment that we started doing on here is Kennedy's picks. So my 6-year-old daughter, we do 5 pro games, we do 5 college games, and she gets to pick. Kennedy does not watch football. She's basically going off of colors and mascot names, And for a while, I think, Frank, didn't we assume that she was just picking whatever the last team was that I said? But she actually kind of goes around and everything. So Kennedy's first week, she went 7-3. And
put money on your daughter.
She went 7-3. The game that screwed her was that Texas loss. And then last week, she had a rough time with pro. I off the top of my head, I don't remember how she did last week. I'll have to look that up when we come back for segment 4, and I'll let you guys know what Kennedy's current record is. But at the end of this little segment here, you'll hear Kennedy's picks for next week. So 5 college games, 5 pro games. Let's hit
the pros up.
Yeah, let's kind of talk about the pros now.
Dallas isn't playing this week. Good thing for them because it gives Romo an extra week to heal up. God, they look
Whedon,
bad.
get rid of Whedon, man. Jeez.
Castle's now the man.
No, but is Whedon still in the building?
Yeah, he is.
I hope he's folding shirts in because he's definitely never going to touch the field again because he is bad. He is bad.
So Frank is going nuts in here because he's excited because he had said the last time that we got together. They can't win without Romo, and so Frank is doing cartwheels and everything in here because he's saying that he predicted that they had to get rid of Whedon, and as Jack just said, that Castle's going to be taking over. So what are the games this week, guys?
Now the big game.
What's the big games?
The other Texas team is playing this week, and that is the Houston Texans.
Do we got to bring them up?
Yeah, we do. They're playing Jacksonville, so there's a
there's a good chance
I know,
they could
buddy.
win.
I'm excited.
The only worst team in the NFL is Jacksonville.
So terrible. No, but the big news on that is Clowney is sitting out with an apparent either ankle or knee injury, so he's not going to be playing today. But J.J. Watt has a unlisted illness. So now it comes to the part of the game, folks, where we're going to play Guess the Illness.
Guess the illness. Okay, Jack, you want to go first, Jack? What is J.J. Watt's illness?
And why can't he play?
He stubbed his toe.
I got to rethink mine now.
Okay, I'm going to go with shingles.
No. Strep throat. Nothing hurts you more when you're trying to tackle a man than strep throat.
Yeah,
I pulled it up on NFL.com. They are saying that he is expected to play today despite
the shingles.
Strep throat.
Despite shingles and strep throat. That's what we've given J.J. Watts.
Just found this out on Houston, Texas Insider. It looks like he has scurvy. Got to eat those lemons, boys and girls.
There is a limited supply of oranges and citrus fruits in Houston, so that makes sense.
What other pro games?
Let's see. Redskins, Jets. Nobody really cares about that. The Cardinals, Steelers. Nope. Vikings, Chiefs. Nope.
How about the Bengals?
The Bengals. 5-0. Jeez.
Andy Dalton.
La Tigre.
Los Tigres del Norte. 5-0. They're undefeated on the road. They're going up against the Buffalo Bills, who are 3-2, 1-2 at home. I don't know what else to say about the Bengals. I'm completely surprised by that. Did you guys see that coming?
They've always had a talented offense, but their defense is showing up this year too, and it's nice. I've been told by one of our friends, Juan, the Bengals are going to rise one year, man.
He's pretty much right, and I think he's been jumping up and down every single Sunday. Of course, he's here in San Antonio, so he doesn't get the opportunity to see many Bengal games. I think every week is him hoping, well, maybe they'll switch to the Bengals game, but nobody cares about the Bengals. Yeah. I think Juan's the only person in San Antonio that cares about the Bengals, but hey,
there's not a lot of Bengals watch party.
So he can talk trash to anybody about NFL right now because his team is 5-0. What are the games? Bears, Lions, meh.
Seahawks,
Broncos,
Panthers.
Well, hold on.
Okay,
let's do Broncos, Browns real quick because the Broncos are also undefeated. Peyton's, just leading them. They're going to go up against the Browns. They'll probably get a W with the Browns today. And and you want to add anything, Jack, about the Broncos?
No.
Okay.
Patriots, Colts, going to be tonight.
Patriots, 5-0. No, 6-0. No,
I believe the spread on that's 10.5.
4-0.
Get ready, kids, because the Patriots are just to deflate gate everything. They're going to kill Kill the Colts.
I'm
Get your
actually
kids'
becoming
tuition
a
money
big-
out of the bank because bet
I'm
on the
becoming a
Pats.
big Patriots fan. I told you this week, Jack, because I know how many people hate the Patriots, and I got to be different to everyone, especially here in Cowboy country. So I'm really, pulling for the Patriots.
I don't mind 'em.
To me, the Patriots, I know people hate when this is said, but they do remind me of the Spurs, the organization, just how well they do.
Popovich, Belichick,
very, very similar.
Russian cousins. I'm just saying.
We got to do a segment in the future where we do, is it Belichick or Popovich?
Oh, with their comments?
Yes, with their comments. So we're going to do that very, very soon. What else? Packers, the other team that's 5-0. They're 3-0 at home. They're taking on the Chargers. The 49ers. I'm not going to mention the Packers because the Packers are going to beat the Chargers. But next game, Ravens, 49ers. Man, does it suck to be a 49ers fan right now.
Hey, but you got that nice new stadium.
Levi Stadium. It is a very beautiful stadium, but
Levi
too bad you don't got a
Strauss.
football team to watch in that stadium. And then the last game we'll mention is Panthers, who are also undefeated
Yeah.
right now. They're 4-0, 2-0, going up against the Seahawks. I think everyone's still kind of surprised with how bad the Seahawks have done this year. They're 2-3.
They're 2-1 since Cam Chancellor's come back.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible. Their defense
I don't
was
think
missing.
it's like their season's done.
No, absolutely
But I
not.
think their expectations were so high. Everybody expected them to be much better than they are right now. They're just not getting any breaks right now. Jack, you want to add anything to that?
No.
No?
Kyle Allen just threw another pick six.
Burn.
we got to get a soundbite of that. Like, hey, Kyle Allen threw another one, folks.
You know, they
and
asked,
then
they asked Kyle Allen after the game what his favorite number was. He picked 6.
Burn. Jack, you should have used that joke for the previous segment. And then, of course, the Monday night game is the Giants and the Eagles. That's big for the NFC East.
Else.
I don't know. Who are you guys picking in that game?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm going to go with the Giants on that one, just because
I'll say Eagles. The Eagles
You go
played good
Eagles?
last week. So
Okay.
maybe keep a trend.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for the pros. Okay, guys, we'll be back in a bit. Maybe you should stay over there. Because you're going to be negative. Egret! Egret! It just took a fish.
Dude, there it is.
Look,
It's right there.
There it is. There's an egret. Look at it.
Come on, let's go.
Frank. So as we're recording here at the Go Spurs Go Means Network Studios, I told you it was getting a fish.
No,
Did it not? No. Oh. So we're here live at the Go Spurs Go Memes Network Studios. Out front of our studios, we actually do have a pond that has koi in it. Frank is the caretaker of the koi, and very, very large egret just swooped down and went for a fish. And Frank went into a straight panic. So he's actually run out and he's picked up rocks to go attack the egret. Because these koi are Frank's babies. Sean, sit down. We got to talk about this because we can do play by play as Frank walks around the pool.
This is literally the white Bronco OJ chase for us.
It
right
really
now.
is.
And it's over on the left side. I can see it coming in.
Okay, so Frank is over to the far right. Buddy the engineer has joined Frank out there.
It's a two-man game. This is insane. Oh, look, he's pointing out which one's missing. There must be 1,000 of them in there. Frank's pointing.
And Frank isn't very close to us, but we could tell which one he is by his bright Hawaii Rainbow Warriors hat that he's wearing very proudly.
I love that hat, actually. It's a good
But the funny thing is Frank looks really pissed off right now.
Don't touch my stuff. That includes koi.
So just for you guys at home that have been listening to us, so Frank, like I said, is the caretaker of these koi.
Yeah.
He's been taking care of the koi for years here at the studios.
He loves this koi.
He loves the koi. Actually, if you go to Frank's office, he actually has a bag full of koi food because he's the only person that takes care of the koi.
Which I think is great. And also, I mean, it's just he loves doing it and they let him do it, which makes it even better.
It's even better. So Frank is actually walking around in circles, checking on all the koi.
Oh, I think he's about ready to pee around the outside so it scares any birds or any other
Okay, so they're
varmints away.
coming back because it looks like the egret left. It was on our left, but I don't see it. Sean, do you see it?
I'm looking across these hill country skies for this raptor bird.
this large raptor bird, this pterodactyl that just came in and
Pterodactyl.
crashed. now it's time for our favorite part of the show, which we call On the Fly. So I'm joined to the right by Mr. Sean, to the left by Frank, the producer, and Jack, the intern.
Good morning.
So
good morning.
we're just going to kind of talk about what's on our mind. So I know what's on my mind because I'm so freaking excited for it. They did announce this week that Kiss, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons have gone into an agreement. They're building a restaurant inside the AT&T Center called Rock and Blues and Brews, I think is what it's called.
So excited. I forgot the name too. Right?
I'm just excited because the picture of it, I could care less about the food, but they have tons of beer on draft. No, I care about the band, Frank. Kiss is life.
Guys, I found some startling facts about the restaurant.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
What did you find, Sean?
Well, first of all, they actually I know it's
Frank,
about the
calm
restaurant.
down. You'll get your turn. I know how much of a Kiss
we
fan
all
you
do
are.
this.
Frank is such a big fan of Kiss. He's actually dressed like a cat right now.
Meow. So, anyways,
Right, meow.
So one of the things I heard, all the waitresses are actually having the name tags. They all say Beth. It's pretty nice. And they actually will not give you napkins. You are supposed to lick it up.
We can kind of go all day long with this.
I looked up Kiss Hits and I was like, oh, I can use this like that. This is perfect. But yeah, no, it should be a good time. I mean, hell, how is it not going to be fun? I mean, it's going to be $13 beers. Fine.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the
We
food's
know what
going
we're
to be
getting
crazy
into.
expensive, but I mean, I think the atmosphere, I hope there's like, old school rock music blaring in there and stuff. I think it would just be a fun thing to do. Get to the AT&T Center early, have some brews, eat some food, and then go to your seats for the Spurs game.
And for anybody
I'm totally
that's
pumped about
surprised,
this.
like how much you pay when you go to a Spurs game, obviously you've never been to a movie.
No.
So don't act all, oh, I can't believe they're doing
It's too expensive.
Get used to it. It's not going to go like, oh, hey, we have Dollar Day. Like, oh, look.
That's
sweetie,
safe for
we had
Rampage
it.
games.
Yeah, and that's why we go. So
Damn
anyways, I don't know.
So speaking of Kiss, Frank, did you want to add anything? Because I know how much of a big Kiss fan you are.
Is there anything that these guys won't do for money?
Kiss
they
toilet.
made
Have you
Kiss
seen
coffins?
Kiss? They
made
actually
Kiss
have
everything
Kiss
up there.
toilets.
They make Kiss
where you can
kisses.
get with Gene Simmons' face, like his mouth open. Like I kid you not,
I would love to pee in that
and
mouth.
they also have Kiss coffins. You
Yes,
can
you can.
get
Sweet.
a
They've actually
detailed
made 'em.
coffin.
I
Yes.
have, when their time is over on this earth, I hope they're buried in that thing.
I'd
be
love to have a Kiss
fantastic.
coffin. I think that would be really epic. Anyways,
The only thing they won't do is call Dr. Love.
I don't think he's a real doctor.
I believe you're correct.
Thank you for the agreement.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we had the
doctor
interwebs
is
to look
essential.
that up.
But speaking of face painting, fun times.
So what we do want to talk about is, we have Halloween. Really? Jeez. So Frank just threw his proud Hawaiian Rainbow Warrior hat away. Now he's putting it back on because he's excited to be
No,
on
I
the
just
air
dropped
now.
it like they do in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
Okay, so back to
No,
Halloween.
anyways,
Anyways,
watches
back
the
to
games anyway.
Halloween because Frank is messing up our on the fly here. But our whole point for on the fly this week is we kind of want to talk Halloween costumes because Halloween is a couple weeks away. Last night took my daughter to Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld. Yeah. Went through some of the haunted houses. What I think is really funny is that there's a lot of people that like to dress up as they come to Howl-O-Scream.
Yeah.
So there's people in college. No. I'm talking about adults, not kids.
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
point.
Great. None of us are batting an eye at this.
I
We
know,
think
and
it's
I'm
cool.
like, well, I just think it's funny because there was people dressed up like warlocks and wizards.
Well, you know
And-
why? Because I mean,
They just came from their card trading
Well,
parties.
yeah, no kidding.
Con
Like,
season just ended, so everybody's all cosplaying and they're reusing everything they use for Halloween too.
well, I think it's funny
expensive to make these
because
costumes
they try to act
So
like
I've
they
heard.
work there. That's the thing that makes me laugh is that they're dressed up and they're trying to scare people like they're employees of the park.
Oh, yeah, you
and
can't
that's
do
the
that,
thing, and
people.
I'm like, you're a weirdo. Like, I know you don't work here. I can tell. There is no warlock costumes within.
There's no name tag.
See what exactly? And there's
There's no name tag. None of them say Beth.
so and there's just these people walking around covered in makeup, trying to be creepy and stuff. And to me, it's not scary creepy. That's like creeper creepy. You know what I mean? But I don't
Yeah,
get that.
you can
whole
only do
thing.
that at your own house when they come up for candy. That's the only time you can scare people without being
Just
employed.
show up in
Yeah.
overalls with a digital SLR with the long lens, and you'll be the creepiest person in that park.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
that is
you're
very
really
scary
right
up
about
there.
that.
Security's going to be all over you.
And that's exactly why you bought a new camera that doesn't
Exactly.
look like that.
It's very inconspicuous. I learned my lesson the first time.
That and you traded that panel van in. Thank God.
SAPD gives you one warning. Take advantage of it.
I got rid of the old Dodge.
And you can't say the phrase, "Oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that either." They know that you know.
Where are the dolphins at?
Okay, so Halloween costumes. So I think every year, corporate America that makes all these costumes really, just kind of outdo themselves with stuff to sell. And yesterday I was at a place that had people in costume, and I thought the funniest thing that I saw were people wearing Left Shark. From the Katy Perry Super Bowl.
Come on.
But there were tons of people dressed up as Left Shark.
Okay.
I just don't
And so
get
it just kind
that
of
much.
kills it. But I'm like, really, that little 5 minutes of Americana is already, people want to dress up as that for Halloween.
I get the obscurity and wanting to be the unique person, but when 6 other people are going to be at the 30-person party with the same costume, it's not that unique.
No, exactly.
Well, it's a good hint. Like if you see a costume idea on Facebook that says, "Hey, you can buy this right now," probably a good idea to avoid that if you want to go for originality and stuff.
Exactly.
Now, make your own costumes. And now I want to bring up my...
we didn't even finish about costumes.
Oh, yeah, go.
Well, you're the one that wanted to talk about costumes.
I
Talk
did.
about
Moving
costumes.
on.
Well, no, I was going to say.
Well, go ahead, Sean.
Just
I-
in honor of Ray, I want to come as Ultron this year for Halloween, and stay for 3 hours, just like the original Ultron.
And I think the Sean Ultron would be way worse than the one that was on TV. I think the Avengers would have been scared of that one.
Oh yeah.
Ultron, you're so hairy.
Why is only the top part of your body metal? Like, I don't know. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. Trick.
It's a trick.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
No, but I was. Yeah, and that's a problem with corporate America. Everything's already made. What happened to making your own costumes? Like, my favorite memories, especially in college, were when people made their own costumes. It was so original. It was so funny, man.
Well, I think the difference with that, and just in my opinion, is like you think about like when you were in college and people just kind of did their own costumes.
Yeah.
That was because we were poor as college students.
God
you
bless
couldn't
'em.
afford to go pay $50, $75 for a costume. But if you look at families nowadays, nobody has time to make stuff anymore. And so that's why they
Make
go to
time,
Party City.
people.
They go to Party City. They'll drop like $80 on a costume. And some of them are good, but some of them are just like really bad. But you pay it because it's easy. It's all about convenience.
Now, okay, now I'm taking us back 10-ish years for some of us, sometimes a little longer, to college.
10 years is 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
When you were in college, what was your favorite homemade costume you saw either you made or one of your friends make?
Oh, man. Okay. Where I went to school, we had a lot of 3D illustrators up there, and this
Yeah.
was their time to shine. One of the coolest costumes I ever saw was we had this thing called a Big Boo Bash, and it was a big fundraiser for our school. And you walked in there, and there was all these statues, just hanging out all along the perimeter of the building and stuff, or where we had it. And the cool thing is that after a while you realize that they're not statues. These are
Yeah.
guys who were really, really painted up there. And then later on, we would see these guys like in the malls and stuff like that. And these are students.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Just really, really cool stuff. I mean, and I'm talking, it's not just a guy who painted themselves white. I mean, they had like marble texture and everything else like that. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So.
I love marbled steaks. That sounds good.
Yeah, and now they're working like Stan Winston and stuff like that.
Right,
Really
exactly.
Cool stuff like that.
Yeah, real talented people.
Easy with
and
the mics,
stuff.
kids.
You, Sean?
My buddy Mike in college, it was my junior year, and I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, I got an idea. I just bought a washing machine. And I go, "Okay." He used the washing machine box. He made 2 big holes in the front of it. And he was almost dressed like a Bender character, but on the top of it said, "Mike, the portable mammogram machine." And girls were going up and putting their boobs in the holes. And he was like, "Yeah, everything's good." I can never, I never want to recreate that, but God, it was just absolutely just brilliant idea.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing is just when girls would just put on lingerie and be like, "I'm an angel. I'm
I thought
I'm a
you
devil."
looked familiar.
And I'm just like, okay,
mouse.
that's what you would. Exactly. That's exactly what it
Sexy
reminds me
mouse,
of.
sweet.
Excellent. Exactly.
Who knew?
Jack, how about you, man? Anything?
No.
No. Kyle Allen just threw another picture.
Wow. I think this is the best performance by Jack the intern since he's been on the show. with us.
Timing impeccable. Drunk
This
Jack
hire-
is awesome.
And the salary we pay for him is just paid off completely.
But, we want to remind everybody to please trick or treat safe. This time of year is always bad for any kind of accidents with kids, especially with candy, anything else. Make sure you go with somebody, especially if you're a little kid. Be a good parent. Be there with your kid.
For all our 10-year-old listeners out there.
Exactly.
Well, we got kids drinking Pepsi during
your flashlight.
It's true.
Spurs
It's true. We
games.
do have people drinking Pepsi and milk during the Spurs drinking game. So that is a very good point, Sean. Thank you very much for taking care of our underage listeners.
Yeah, of course. And and this goes out to one of our other friends who wants to dress as a sausage every year. Sarah, we get it.
Sarah, we get it. You like sausage. You don't need
Delicious.
to keep kind of dropping that to us. We understand it. It's fine. Anyways, guys, that brings us to the end of our podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me as always. Got Buddy, the engineer, on the soundboard over there, making sure that we sound great. Thank you for your feedback on the Spurs preseason games. Jack, the intern. Man, you just wouldn't shut up this podcast. Great input there, Jack. Thanks so much for doing all the stats for us and everything, as always. Frank, the producer, the man without none of this would be possible. So thank you very much, Frank, for being here, as always. And, of course, it's good to see my good friend, Sean, the co-host.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean is back.
I'm glad that he's
Back
back.
again.
I know. We're trying to get him fired. So to get
We
more time with
tried,
us.
but he
Keep
found
trying.
it. Yeah.
Not
Anyways,
happening.
thank you guys so much for being here with us, and we will talk to you guys next week. And as always, go Spurs, go! So it did get one, right?
It's laying in the bottom of the water.
But no, it didn't get one while we were there. They're gonna eat something, but I forgot what happens is during the winter, whenever it gets cold, you know how koi dormant, right? That's when these will show up and start eating them.
If you just missed that, Frank did just drop the F-bomb.